I was on Shark Tank, and like it's not as like glamorous as like it looks. Like the tank is like a warehouse, you know what I mean? That has a fancy setup on the inside, you know what I mean? But it's not, and it's like 15 or 20 people in the back, and it's black, and you can't use 1,000 cameras. And so it's like, it's just, and then like they fed us like the gas station muffins for breakfast.
No. Okay, they fed us good. Okay, Netflix did a good job with what they were feeding us.
He's like, look, we ain't gonna disparage Netflix.
I was treated good. I'm not gonna say I was treated good.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the More Rounds podcast. I'm your host, Kim Lewis, CEO and co-founder of Chromix. And today, you guys, we have Mal from the Ultimatum Queer Love Edition, you guys. The show is amazing. Mal is the star breakout actor, performer, I don't know what you call it, reality TV star on the show. But I also know that Mal is also a badass personally and professionally from my friend Tracy Pickett. So Tracy gave me... highly recommended by Tracy, and Tracy's one of the smartest people I know. And so she was like, Mal's dope. You definitely should interview her. Very, very smart. Very, very kind. And so not only are you like a celebrity, but you're also brilliant. So, but before we get into Mal's story and the money in showbiz, I want to do a cheers.
Cheers.
Awesome.
That's good. Hang on to it.
Hold on to it. Okay, so Miles, I want to know, you were just telling me that you were working during the show.
Yes.
Right? And most people don't know that, right? I know there were like moments where you were like off in the corner on your phone or on your laptop. What were you doing, and like what's your background?
Yeah, so I worked for 10 years in corporate America in leadership, HR, project management, just various roles, like startup roles within the company.
Okay.
And during the show I was working. So I was working from home, but I also, during filming, was off, working when I needed to.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't customer facing. My client was internal, so.
What were you doing before HR? Have you always been HR?
No, I was in sales. Out of college, I was in sales.
And what did you study?
Public relations.
Okay.
Yep. And my dad, I've kind of followed the track of my family. My dad was a VP of a company. And I followed that. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And just followed his footsteps.
All right, so all my corporate baddies who've been in corporate for a decade or more, they would not, like most of them, I feel like they would be like, I would never do a reality TV show because, you know what I mean? So What made you even, I don't know, what opened you up to the idea?
The premise of the show, the first Ultimatum wasn't even out yet when we got approached for it.
Oh, wow.
So we really didn't have much of a clue what we were walking into. The other part of it, for me, there was security in knowing that I wasn't customer facing. My client was internal, and I dealt with other leaders. I wasn't really dealing with, anybody else. So I felt safe behind that. What?
You had no idea.
I had no idea. No.
You had no idea what was about to
unfold.
Wow.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't think it would, I don't know. I guess I also didn't think it would blow up the way that it did. I kind of thought when anything is queer, a lot of times the only people it's exposed to is queer community.
Yeah.
And even then, when you look at, like, I was the only black person on cast. I also didn't think it would make it to some of the communities that it made it to. But it just blew up,
What communities did it make it to that you were like, oh, I'm surprised you've seen that?
I wasn't sure if the black community would watch as much as they did. Just
really?
Because I was the only one. So,
Wow.
I wasn't sure.
Okay. So did you actually think there was any money in doing the show before you decided to do it?
Can I talk about this? Yeah, I would not have done that for free. I can tell you that. So there was money involved. So yeah.
Is it like, and you don't have to give me numbers or anything like that, but like, were you walking away from a lot with HR, AT&T, or like?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I got laid off with all the other waves of layoffs that have been happening.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. What was offered, I just didn't. I just thought it was time for me to part from the company. So
gotcha.
I did that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and also it's divine timing. Like, I got laid off, been with the company for 10 years. So of course there's severance involved and all the things to keep you. But then the show came out maybe 4 months later. So the timing was really interesting, and the opportunities that have come have been amazing, really.
What are some of the opportunities that have like been life-changing for you, or things that you just dream come true?
Speaking at the Human Rights Campaign on a panel, I just never, you could have never told me that by doing this show, all of these things would come up, or I'd be speaking at some of the panels that I've spoke at, or been asked to, do keynotes at colleges. I just would have never thought that showing up authentic and emotional intelligence and being able to display that, I never thought that would then pave the way for me to be speaking at these engagements and touching people outside of queer community,
Yeah. Paint the picture for me for the human rights panel that you spoke on. And I know the importance of it, but I would love, give me a visual.
This particular panel was on joy as an act of resilience. And so, they were taking my example on the show and just kind of going off of how we exercise joy in our everyday, what it looks like to be in the practice of joy every day, the subtle differences between happiness and joy, and what that means, what it means to harness it, what it means to expand upon it, how just living in your truest self is an example of joy.
Yeah. After doing the show, right, so there was some compensation, which is great. You probably needed it because, they take up a lot of your time. Like when you're filming, people don't know that. It's like a lot of hurry up and wait.
It's a joy. A joy. It's a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the show aired, right, it seems like you've been like whisked into like this limelight. And I'm curious, is there anything that surprises you about the money in showbiz? Like all the things you've been getting asked to do, like did you have to hire certain people? Did you have to negotiate contract a certain way? Or, people trying to take advantage of you? Like, what are you seeing?
All the above. I think the biggest misconception is that I think people think fame equates to dollars, and that's just not true. I think that let's say you get presented with a deal, maybe a brand deal.
Yeah.
There is negotiation in process, like of how much you think you should be being paid. If you've never done this before, you don't understand what reading your analytics or your insights mean. You might not even have peers. The peers that you do have are the ones that look like you. And we know on average, our white counterparts are paid, influencing anyway, are paid far more than we are.
Exactly.
And if you don't have access to those people to understand how to leverage or discuss what your fair pay should be, you don't even know what to ask, right? So your first brand deal that you get approached with, you're like, I don't know, I guess I should take it. Maybe, I don't know, I've never done this before, And sometimes it's more money than it's on the cumulative. It's more than you've seen in one check,
Yeah.
So that's hard to gauge what's a good deal, what's not a good deal, what your impact is, and nobody's teaching you this, right? And so sometimes agencies pick you up, and they'll try to negotiate on your behalf. But you also, if you've never done it before, you're just trusting and hoping that they are negotiating in your best interest.
Yeah.
But then you get a brand deal, and then you do whatever you need to do for the company, your deliverable. And then you have to pay your agency 10 to 20% depending. And if you have a manager, they have to get paid their 10 to 15% as well.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay taxes, right? And you're the last person that gets paid.
Yeah.
And you still need to produce this great content. Yeah. Right. And so.
Or do you, sorry, I just interviewed somebody who was talking about buying and selling businesses. And he told me one of the ways that you can not pay as much on your taxes is buying and selling businesses. Like if you're going to have a $20,000, $40,000 tax bill next year, if you buy a business, you can write the kind of business you buy, you can write it off. So anyway, just a little tip.
Thank you.
Because I already know that like influencer celebrity life, I'm like, oh, you got to worry about them taxes for sure. Yes. If you've seen any of the content we produced or Chromix online and thought, man, I want to invest in that company, now's your chance. Go to chromix.com/invest and you can become an investor today. Now back to the episode. How are the people, and I'm assuming that when you started kind of getting hit with all the brand offers and deals and things like that and the opportunities on TV, you were like, okay, I need somebody to help me evaluate this stuff, right? So then you go to talk to them, and I'm assuming that maybe you've asked them, what's the most money I can make doing things this way? And do you have any like comparisons in the industry? You're like, oh, this person's probably definitely crushing it. And I'm only asking that, and you don't have to give me a name if you don't want, but I'm only asking that because I want to know what is the ceiling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the most people are making the most money. Like, what are they doing to get that?
There is a ceiling. I think it's what I'm learning, and I'm still learning it because this only came out mid last year, right? So I couldn't do anything until the show was done. So July, August is when I started stepping into this realm of influencing.
Yeah.
So really I'm like 7 months deep and I'm still figuring it out, right? But I think it's important. What I've learned is to look at the categories that are the most influential. So the people that I see crushing it are in like either education, wellness sells, sex sells.
When you say wellness education, how do you mean?
Like trainers or diet.
And how are they crushing? Like digital products and stuff like that?
Digital products, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
People are selling ebooks or master classes or these things.
Wait, you said sex sells. How are they selling? Like,
I think that they're just selling their image. I don't literally mean like actual sex, but I think they're just selling their image.
I mean, that's okay. Like, I got nothing against sex workers.
Yeah.
Okay, like
for sure. But I think just selling their image as well. I think sexiness just sells. There's an influence in that, and those are the people that I see kind of crushing it.
Do people recommend to you like, oh, you should start your own brand? You should be selling this.
Absolutely.
What do they tell you that you need to be launching?
They definitely think I should write some sort of ebook masterclass on emotional intelligence. I'm the person that's like, I can tell you what I've done. I don't know that I am the guru and such or the thought leader and such, but I can tell you what I've done. So there's been talks around doing that, what that looks like, or offering resource. I think what's conflicting for me is the idea of selling a resource. I don't love that part. You know, I think accessibility is a thing, and I don't know. It's.
That you got a heart for the people.
I just can't. I don't know. Like I have access to things and people with knowledge, and I just don't know that should be monetized.
Maybe some of it.
Some of it. Some of
you still gotta have the money to do the things.
You know, there's this line that I walk between, like, how much of this am I gatekeeping? And I think that's what I have a hard time with. Of course, creatively, people are like, start this brand, do this thing, monetize your image, monetize your likeness, your ideas, monetize it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I also think it's important to do things that are true to me. I'm in a good place right now, and I don't know. I don't want to, like, for lack of better words, I don't want to, like, slut myself that way. I don't want to do that to myself, for lack of better words.
Is there any part of you that wants to go back to corporate?
Absolutely. I miss the structure so much.
What do you miss? What do you miss about corporate?
I do miss structure. I miss going in and, you know, vulnerably, I think a lot of my identity was tied to my achievement and how good I was at my job.
Yeah.
And now I don't do that. So now I'm like, oh my goodness, who are you if you're not corporate badass? Who are you? You know? And I do miss the structure. I miss like knowing your task and understanding your impact. I miss that. I miss seeing the results. I miss reading said report, you know, and data. I miss that.
Ooh, okay. So then you're at a lot of parties, you know. I saw Mal a couple times in South by. Was it South by? No, Afrotech. Yeah. And I'm like, you got all the parties. I'm like, man, you look like you're having a great time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so is that real? Or are you like, I'm doing this, but I really would, you know, rather be at home in my bed? Like,
I mean, both. I think two things can be true at once. Like, is it fun to connect with people? Yes. I think Afrotech was a really like unique experience. Those were, one of the parties was my own party. Okay. That I've started a music collective with two of my buddies. So when you talk about monetizing, that is one way.
Mind you, best DJ.
Yes.
Oh my God. I went home. My sweater, all my makeup off. My clothes were disgusting. I had a blast. He was so the best. Good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm doing that. Okay. And it's traveling and it's wonderful. And
what's the name of it so people can find it?
See you next Thursday.
Yeah. And where do you guys go?
We travel around the country. We were at Afrotech and then we did Seattle. We'll be in New York, Detroit, and this summer we'll be in Amsterdam.
So what's the monetization? Is it really ticket sales and it's just like they're just so profitable? Or is it more like, no, we're building a brand with the ticket sales and then we hope to, because I have a friend who just sold, you know, their party, you know, like Everyday People or whatever. Like they sold that company to Gravity. You know what I mean? So I think that's like dope, right?
That's the hope. That's the hope. That's the goal. Yeah. I mean, we partner with the party that we threw in at Afrotech. We partnered with It wasn't Bacardi. Was it Bacardi? I don't remember. Sorry, guys. But we did partner with a liquor company. And so that's where the money comes from, is the brand partnerships and the door sales.
That's brilliant. I love that for you. And then the thing is, I mean, you can, it's your likeness. So you could do a fashion brand. You could have the parties. And then so that entity you could do, that's really good. I like that for you.
The goal is to grow it and sell it.
What would you say? Have you been more marketing in the past, or more finance management, or more operational logistics details kind of person? Like, what's your expertise?
My expertise is sales.
Okay.
I'm 100% a sales driver. I wish I would have dabbled in marketing though more.
Yeah.
Because there just have been ideas that have helped. When we talk about marketing to internal clients and we talk about like retention of the people, I really do understand the brand of the people that I work with.
Yeah.
I really truly believe that I work for my employees.
Okay.
And so I understand how to keep them too. I know what sells and keeps them.
And I want to go back to the money, just because this is more rounds, and I have to ask, because, reality television, and I don't think people have any idea about the money in the show. So there's compensation. Was it just a compensation for the time that you were filming? Or is it compensation like, hey, this is like a year salary type of thing? Or is it like, hey, you're going to get residuals on the show over the next 5 years?
Good question. No, it is compensation for the time that you're filming.
Okay.
With our particular show, I don't know about the other shows out there. I think when you have shows that have seasons, then the comp works different.
Do you know how that works?
I'm not sure. I've heard from other friends that have been on shows that have repeat seasons that they usually get compensated per episode.
Yeah.
Ours was for the whole filming. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say there was per episode too, but I know that was for filming.
Did any part of that make you want to get into producing? Okay. No, it's a quick and dirty no.
No, there's some things that I do know on the back end about how great shows do, like how much production costs versus what they do on the back end. And I think that's really enticing. Some of that makes me want to get into production.
Yeah.
But not enough. I don't have like a deep, I'm more interested in the casting side, which I'm now I'm a casting producer for Ultimatum.
I saw that in South Africa, right?
I was just visiting South Africa. That's another place that we're throwing a party as well. But I was just visiting to, get the lay of the land, see what's up with it.
Gotcha.
And do other parties with this travel group.
Yeah.
So that's why I was there. But
how'd you get into casting? Like,
I literally, after the show, I recognized what there was a need for, as far as representation goes.
Yeah.
And I just reached out to a casting person. I spoke to a lot of production. And, like when you're on these shows, I think networking is huge. And I think follow-up is another big thing. Genuine networking, like not just what you can do for me, but actually having an interest in the people that you're connecting with.
Yeah.
And I always remember, like I take corporate practice and I apply it to my real life. And I do follow up with people and I do check back in on them. And I remember the things that they told me. And I just spoke to one of the casting producers that casted me. They were casting for like Survivor, one of these challenge shows. And I asked about being a part of that show, like the Survivor, enterprise. And her question back to me was, do you want to be a part of casting or do you want to be casted? And I was like, oh, well, both. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
And then we talked about casting, being a casting producer. And paired with my background in HR, I've been through so many different roles in corporate that like recruiting is I've recruited. I know what this looks like.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think this might be a really good fit. Let's talk to the producer that created the show.
Yeah.
And me and him like each other. And they were like, yeah, let's try it. Let's bring Mal on. Let's see how this goes.
Did you need any money saved up to do the show?
No,
not at all.
But I didn't stop working.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sure some people might have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The number one question I get is, Kim, will you coach me? Will you mentor me? Will you advise me on raising funding? And it's really hard to do one-on-one things, but I am going to launch a community to help you guys fund your business. And the way you get access to that community is by clicking the link in the show notes, kimlewisceo.com, and join the mailing list. You'll be first to know when I'm dropping a community so we can help you fund your business. All right, now back to the episode. As far as your future goes, I know you miss your achievements You know what I mean? So the human rights thing probably like really maybe
felt good.
Filled the void of that. You know, you're like, this is so good. Okay, so this is amazing. Do you think a natural lane for you is corporate business ownership or, you know, celebrity? Like, what direction do you think you'll take over the next 12 to 24 months?
I don't know if it's so weird for me to think of myself as celebrity.
I know, but I mean, come on, like.
I think it's a natural path. I think it's very easy for me.
I don't consider myself a celebrity, and everybody be like, "The Kim," and
I'm a celebrity.
I'm not a celebrity. And then people think like, "What was Shark Tank?" I was on Shark Tank, and like, it's not as like glamorous as like it looks. Like the tank is like a warehouse. You know what I mean? That has a fancy setup on the inside. You know what I mean? But it's not, and it's like 15 or 20 people in the back, and it's black, and you can't use 1,000 cameras. And so it's like. It's just, and then like they fed us like the gas station muffins for breakfast.
No.
Yes.
Okay, they fed us good. Okay, Netflix did a good job with what they were feeding us.
He's like, look, we ain't gonna disparage Netflix.
I was treated good. I'm not gonna say I was treated good.
Look, and then they had Pop-Tarts, and it was on like a little pop-up white stand, like little table. Yes. And the trailer, no offense. Okay, I sound real extra. Okay, but it just was not what I was expecting. And
right.
So it wiped all the glimmer from my eyes about reality television, and I'm no longer like, you know, about it. But anyway, that's beside the point. So we're talking about celebrity, and you don't see yourself as a celebrity. You are a celebrity. Okay.
Okay.
You have to own that. You have to own that. So that's the lane.
I think it's a lane that's. It feels like the path of least resistance right now. It feels like I think that there's a way to be good at it, to be authentic in it, not lose yourself in it. And with the opportunities that have come, I think it would be ridiculous to turn them down. You know? Yeah. And so if I can find a way to navigate this and still stay true to myself, then let's run it up, because there's a lot of money to be made in the world of influencing. I think you can monetize celebrity a certain way that still stays true to your values and true to you. Yeah. I think this is the lane for now.
All right. I have a lightning round.
Shoot it. And
I'm going to say, I typically ask, you know, what's one book every entrepreneur should read? But because I know we are kind of just getting to this lane, and it doesn't have to be every entrepreneur. It could be any person.
Okay.
Okay.
What, one book?
Yeah, one book.
Compound Effect.
Compound Effect. What is that?
It literally teaches you the idea of compounding when you do. It could be with anything. Maybe you want to start a new habit. It could be with saving money. It just talks about how these small changes, when done over time consistently, out of nowhere, the idea of compounding. Yeah. One day you look up and it's like you've amassed this huge amount of whatever X goal was.
Gotcha. All right. Most money you ever lost on a deal?
Ooh. I wanted like $25,000.
Ooh, what were you doing?
It was a brand deal, and it was a matter of just not responding on time. Oh. Respond to people on time. Timely response. Okay. Because you're one of a million. You're one of 100, however many people that they're reaching out to. Yeah. I cannot stress the importance of responding on time to things.
Made you want to hire somebody to be responsive to those
1,000%.
It's like I just hire somebody for like a couple $1,000s and
right.
go to God.
They'll move to somebody else.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
It's okay. There'll be more.
No, for sure.
And there'll be like 6-figure deals, and then or 7, 8-figure deals, and you'll be like, that was just.
I'm holding that. I'm holding it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have no doubt. None at all. Is there anything you want to leave the people with, Mal?
Honestly, that. But also bank on yourself. And as I speak to them, I speak to myself. I reiterate to myself, you have to bank on you. Nobody knows what is for you more than you do. And we like to listen to people and let them get in our heads, and people that, you know, maybe we idolize and think that they have more knowledge about ourselves than we do. So definitely bank on yourself. Have people in your corner that actually believe in the vision and that can they can give objective views, but still understand your vision. They're not just shutting your vision down. Yeah. Yeah.
Facts. Where can everybody find you?
At I Go By Mal. That's where every update is. Every social. My email is mal@igobymal.com. It's I Go By Mal on all social media platforms.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod. Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so appreciative. All right, you guys, that's a wrap for this More Rounds episode. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of More Rounds Podcast.